Howdy. Today I'm going to review the 2024 standard specification changes for the 500 series items, miscellaneous construction. The legend used throughout this presentation is that deleted wording will be red and struck through, new wording will be blue and underlined, and changed wording will use a combination of old and new strike through and underline. Please bear in mind the information presented in this presentation is a quick comparison between the 2014 and 2024 standard specifications. Due to the number of revisions made, not every change is listed. Multiple items have changed significantly, and a quick comparison is not sufficient. To familiarize yourself with the items of the 2024 standard specifications book, you will need to read specific items in their entirety. There were 26 items in the 2014 spec book. With our review and changes for 24, we've added 3 new items, including portable changeable message signs, truck-mounted attenuators, and colored textured concrete. 2 items have had name changes, includes landscape paving and rumble strips. So there are a total of 29 items in the 2024 specification. So let's get started. Our first item, item 500, mobilization. No major changes in description or measurement. Under payment, it notes material on hand will not be considered as a construction item earned when calculating mobilization payment. Item 502, barricade signs and traffic handling. So there's some major language changes under the description, primarily in adding in the MASH compliance for devices and when those devices can be used, and what traffic work zone control devices are, how they are categorized. No changes under construction, no changes under measurement, and then payment. It clarifies that TMAs and TAs will be paid under the new specification items, and a reference back to section 7.2.3 safety contingency has been added. Under item 503, portable changeable message sign, this is a new item. It's been basically ported directly from the special specification 6001 that we've been using for a long time. Only real changes here are editorial. We've updated the language, changing telephone to modem, and adding a line about underpayment for reimbursement for the repair of damaged devices will be in accordance with section 7.17.1, reimbursable repair. Item 504, field office and laboratory. So there's a lot of editorial and reorganization within this specification. Under general, restrooms may be shared, but must be accessible and in proximity to the engineer's field office and lab. A portable toilet is allowed unless otherwise shown on the plans. You're instructed to provide reliable internet access when shown on the plans, and when detailed, provide storage of the nuclear gauge that meets the exposure and security requirements of TxDOT and DSHS. Continuing changes in the buildings. Note that any buildings that were considered adequate by the department before the implementation of the new specifications, except for type B structures, may remain in service for the remainder of their useful life. Buildings may be under a shared roof with the contractor and supplier facilities or separate. Provide secure department-only access to secure department's furnished equipment and files by portioning the rooms, having separate laboratories or other approved methods. All rooms will have a minimum 8-foot ceiling and aisles at least 5 foot in width. For new buildings, coordinate with the engineer on the layout to meet the requirements of the item. Again, revisions to field office and laboratory in the requirements, provide at least 2 workbenches or tables, meeting 30 inches wide and 5 feet long. In the laboratory, a minimum 4x4 landing on all exterior doors when steps are necessary. Stable platforms for testing equipment, a floor that is strong and stable enough to support testing equipment, exhaust fans, and an area for a desk, 3-drawer filing cabinet, and at least 1 chair. Structures have been reworked. Type A structures, a concrete lab, provide at least 100 square foot of gross floor area, 1 exterior door. Type B structure, field office and concrete lab. Type C structure, a field office, and a type D structure, a hot mix lab. For gyratory presses that are shared, the equipment is not required to be locked behind the department's secured access, but must be under the same roof or in proximity to the department's lab and must meet the department's requirements, including requirements in test procedure, comparable and consistent test results, safety, efficiency, and accessibility. Under measurement and payment, again, the work performed, equipment, utilities, test equipment as specified for department use will not be paid for directly, but will be subsidiary to pertinent bid items. 505 truck mounted attenuators and trailer attenuators. Again, this is pulled directly from the special specification 6185. So minor changes in language and updates to measurement. So truck mounted attenuator, trailer attenuator, mobile operation, item will be measured by the hour or by the day. When measurement by the hour is specified, at least 4 hours will be paid each day for each operating TMA. When measurement by the day is specified, a day will be measured for each TMA or TA set up and operational on the work site. And again, reimbursement for repair of damaged devices will be in accordance with section 7.17.1 reimbursable repair. Item 506, temporary erosion, sediment, and environmental controls. There are quite a few updates and changes in language through this one. I encourage everyone to read through it, especially if you're dealing with environmental requirements and best management practices. Again, I think qualifications, training, and employer requirements is an important section to read through. Contractor responsible person, environmental, will have overall responsibility for managing environmental compliance. They will oversee environmental compliance requirements, and they will ensure placement of BMPs or soil disturbing activities are evident in accordance with SWP3 and TxDOT construction general permit. Take required training in accordance with section 7.7.4.4 training. Maintain daily monitoring reports and make them available within 24 hours upon request. And the CRPE will provide recommendations pertinent to improving the effectiveness of control measures. Again, some more language on training and who should take the training. And under construction, implement the SWP3 as shown on the plans or as directed. Contractor proposed recommendations for changes are allowed as approved. Act in accordance with the TxDOT construction general permit to make changes. Immediately address chemical and hydrocarbon spills caused by the contractor. Keep a spill kit on site. And then some updates to payment regarding to pertinent bid items and including dewatering for removal of accumulated sediment. Item 508, constructing detours. Some updates in pretty much every section. Construct and maintain detours, remove detours unless otherwise directed or shown in the plans. Under construction, traffic safety and convenience are essential. Maintain detours in accordance with section 7.2.4, 7.17, and section 7.17.4 detours in and this item. Under payment, maintenance of detours constructed will be paid for in accordance with section 7.17.4, period. Item 510, one-way traffic control. So updates to this one are under work methods and under measurement. So for work methods, flagger control method has been updated to furnish flaggers in accordance with Article 7.2 safety on each approach to the activity area to control traffic. Furnish additional flaggers at all intersections, public driveways, and commercial driveways as determined by the engineer. Furnish a stop slow paddle in conformance with the TMUTCD. Pilot car method, again, similar language. Furnish flaggers in accordance with Article 7.2. Furnish additional flaggers at all intersections, public driveways, commercial driveways as determined by the engineer. Under pilot car method, additional flaggers, when directed by the engineer, will be measured by the flagger control method. So additional payment for those flaggers is there. Item 512, portable traffic barrier. So updates to materials, specifically under connection hardware. If the connection hardware is provided by the department, or if it is furnished by the contractor for and how it is applied. Department will furnish connection hardware for department furnished barrier sections unless otherwise shown in the plans. So make sure we read through those items and what needs to be in the plans. Under construction, remove formwork has been changed. So once concrete has attained sufficient strength to resist stresses due to handling, remove formwork and place barrier sections on blocking. For concrete barrier, the areas that require pinning will be shown on the plans. For steel barrier, the acceptable deflection distance will be shown on the plans. And then repair or replace any pavement damaged in the process of installing, removing or moving barrier sections at the contractor's expense. So important there is pinning and deflection distance for steel barrier. Under measurement, as shown in the plans, connection hardware will be measured by each complete connection between two traffic barrier sections. For department furnished barrier and for pinning of concrete barriers shown in the plans, pinning will be measured by each pin. Connection hardware is added to the list of items for payment. Under item 520, weighing and measuring equipment, the primary change here is under equipment, and the language allows the contractor to use e-ticketing with approval of the engineer. It says, again, at the contractor's option, an electronic ticket delivery system may be used instead of printed tickets. The use of e-ticketing will require written approval of the engineer, and at a minimum, the approved system must meet the following requirements. Again, the contractor may discontinue use of the e-ticket system and provide printed tickets as needed to meet the requirements of the applicable bid items. Item 527, colored textured concrete, has been split out from item 528. So description-wise, there are no changes. Under materials, some update to the color hardener to provide ASTM requirements. Under construction, language has been added for a default color pattern and size if it is not provided in the plans. So if no type, size, color, or pattern is specified, use a brick shape with a minimum size of 3 3/4 inch length, 7 3/4 inch width, with a 3/8 inch joint in a red color using a running bond pattern. Item 528, landscape pavers. So previously, the colored texture concrete landscape paver item was together. Now they're separate. Again, changes here are mainly to remove the references to colored texture concrete, and we also add in the default pattern, color, and brick size, same language there. And again, just removing the references to colored texture concrete. Item 529, concrete curb gutter and combined curb and gutter. Changes here really reference the concrete and the material. So when curbs are monolithically placed with concrete, pavements use the same class of concrete as the concrete pavement. And then use of fibers is now allowed unless otherwise shown in the plans. Previously, that required engineer approval. Under construction, again, furnish and replace reinforcing steel unless fiber reinforced concrete is used. And then for extruded or slip form concrete, shape and compact the subgrade to the lines, grades, and cross sections shown, and lightly sprinkle subgrade or foundation material immediately before concrete placement. On curb joints for concrete pavements, provide transverse expansion and contraction joints in the curb of the same type and location as the adjacent or underlying pavement. Use the same type of expansion joint material, same thickness. Extend the expansion joints through the curb. Place reinforcing steel for non-monolithic curb construction joints as shown in the plans unless otherwise approved. And form or saw the contraction joint through the full depth of the monolithic curb. No changes under measurement or payment. Item 530, intersections, driveways, and turnouts. No major changes there except under measurement. This item will be measured by the square yard of the final pavement surface as placed in the field, including radii and turnout. And I think that will clarify some issues that we've had in the past with driveway measurements. Just make sure we coordinate those measurements between the contractor and the inspector. Item 531, sidewalks. So updates to this one include the use of fiber reinforced concrete and the appropriate language and detectable warning materials. Let's see, under description, construct hydraulic cement concrete sidewalks, Americans with Disabilities Act ramps and steps. Under materials, again, adding fibers for concrete and detectable warning material in accordance with DMS 4350. Under construction, we include the language for fiber reinforced concrete, but also some requirements on the sidewalk. So ensure that abrupt changes in sidewalk elevation do not exceed 1/4 inch, period. Sidewalk cross slope does not exceed 2%, and curb ramp grade does not exceed 8.3%. Flares adjacent to the ramp do not exceed 10% slope measured parallel to the curb line. That's all in line with ADA requirements, and it should not be a major change. Ensure the sidewalk depth and reinforcement are not less than the driveway cross-sectional details where the sidewalk crosses and is part of a concrete driveway. Follow manufacturer's recommendations when installing detectable warning surfaces. And then you've under measurement, you have a better definition of what the curb ramp is consisting of. And steps will be measured by the square yard or horizontal surface area. Under payment, added items for concrete sidewalk steps to the pay items, and also indicate that sidewalks that cross and are part of the concrete driveways or turnouts will be measured and paid for in accordance with item 530 intersection driveways and turnouts. Item 533, rumble strips, previously called milled rumble strips. So changes to this item include information from Special Specification 5062 and include filling of milled rumble strips. Due to the number of modifications that have been made, you are encouraged to read this item in its entirety. A lot of the changes come from adding the filling of milled asphalt rumble strips and milled concrete rumble strips to the specification, including pretty much under every section. And then updates to the items under pavement are included, and under the description. The item also includes filling rumble strips and asphalt and concrete pavement to provide a smooth, stable surface with the lines and grades conforming to the adjacent pavement. Item 536, concrete medians, directional islands. No major changes here. Under materials, we add the language for we add the language for fibers for concrete to replace reinforcing steel and Class A concrete. Under construction, furnish and place reinforcing steel again with the fiber reinforced concrete is used. Item 540, metal beam guard fence. No changes in description. Some deletions under materials, primarily removing references to terminal anchor posts since they are no longer in use. And update to the measurement of a long span system. Measurement will be by each long span system complete in place. Each long span system will be from the first CRT to the last CRT in the system. Item 542, removing metal beam guard fence. No major changes here. Under construction, complete remove post, any concrete or grout backfill, and under pavement, removal of most strips or riprap will be paid for separately under the pertinent bid items. Removal of the curb pertinent to the metal beam guard fence transitions will not be paid for directly, but will be subsidiary to the item. So clarification on that. Item 543, cable barrier systems. Due to the number of modifications been made, again, we're encouraged to read the item in its entirety and for clarity. Changes for this one mainly revolve around relocate and removal of the cable barrier systems in terminal sections. Cable barrier systems approved for use have passed NCHRP Report 350, and post spacing and resulting deflection characteristics of the system will be such that contact with obstructions within the project site will be avoided when the system is impacted. Salvage approved material is shown in the on the plans. Measurement of relocate will be by the foot of cable barrier system and by each cable barrier terminal system relocated. Removal is paid the same. Installation, again, unit price bid for cable barrier system install or cable barrier terminal section installs full compensation for furnishing cable barrier system, cable barrier terminal, concrete foundations, excluding the most strip, delineators, equipment, labor tools, and incidentals. And payment items for relocate and remove are added. Item 545, crash cushion attenuators. So a lot of language changes in here, mainly updating the work zone crash cushion attenuators to talk about the age of the sacrificial barriers. So the language under materials says furnish new or used crash cushion attenuators in accordance with item 502. Sacrificial water-filled crash cushion attenuators may be reused for the applicable payment items as long as the crash cushions are undamaged. All parts from the pertinent installation manual are supplied and the devices are not older than 7 years from the manufacture date. If the 7-year manufacture date occurs during project construction, the device may be used to the termination of the project up to 10 years from the manufacture date. Concrete has been modified, furnished concrete for pads in accordance with item 521 and the foundation requirements as shown in the plans. Items under construction, move and reset. New cushions that are initially placed in temporary work zone applications and later moved to a permanent location will be paid for under move and reset. Some additional language under removal and under payment. Primarily the work performed and materials furnished in accordance with this item and measured as provided for under measure will be paid for at the unit price bid for crash cushion attenuator, furnish, install, designated source, move, reset, stockpile, or remove, with the category, the width, the test level, and for work zones with the width, test level, and designation work zone. The primary language here is incidental maintenance and incidental repair and replacement will be paid in accordance with Article 7.17, contractor's responsibility for work, and Article 9.7, payment for extra work and force account method. And then some clarification on the removal payment. Item 550, No major changes except under electrical grounds for fence placed on bridge structures, installed grounds as shown in the plans. Item 552, wire fence. You have some clarifications under construction and clarifications and updated language for materials, clarifications under construction, and how you measure fencing. The new item under fencing is water gaps, and water gaps will be measured by the foot as the distance between ends of fence. Item 556, pipe drains. Biggest change here is under materials for the filter material. So table 2 has been updated. Type A and D material has been removed. Type E, F, and G material has been added. And use type G material around the underdrays unless otherwise shown on the plans. Item 585, rod quality. Due to the number of modifications, again, it's recommended that you read the specification in its entirety. Major changes here under equipment, removal of the inertial profiler for surface test type A, in addition to grooving equipment and tolerances. Under work methods, removal of the transverse profile, acceptance, payment adjustments, corrective action for surface type A, surface type B, IRI, and for concrete and asphalt pavement and localized roughness. And under measurement payment, you have a new table 1 that addresses ride quality for asphalt pavements, and a new table 2 addresses ride quality for concrete pavements with schedules 4 and 5. And that ends the 500 series items. Thank you.